So a lot of you guys have been writing to me over the past week and asking me questions about the crypto market, how to make money in the crypto market, what I think. And it motivated me. I think a big problem that a lot of you guys have is that you guys are looking at building wealth the wrong way. You guys are thinking about building wealth in terms of what to buy instead of how to set up your buying. And I think what's really going on is that you guys lack a formula to wealth creation. A lot of you guys may be looking at acquiring wealth the wrong way, and I wanted to clear up exactly what I mean in this video, okay? That way you guys can start actually making wealth over a long period of time using crypto, or just in general, if crypto's not your speed, whatever the case may be. The point is that a lot of you guys will be able to make a lot more money in a lot more manageable of a time and actually create long-term sustained wealth, not just getting on a 100x or a 50x or a 10x on a coin and then losing it or whatever the case may be. I don't think that you should be relying on that. I think that you guys should create a system in your own life in order to actually sustainably build wealth. And in this video, that's exactly what we're gonna go over. We're gonna go over my simple and easy to implement formula to how to actually acquire wealth over the long term, okay? We're gonna talk about that simple formula today. We're gonna break it down. Before I do, nothing in this video is financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not your financial counselor. What you decide to do with your money is up to you. You need to take responsibility for your buys and your sells. Okay, now before we get into this, I want you guys to check out the view here. I'm on the beach, so I decided to make a video, and I was thinking about something while laying out here and I wanted to share it, okay? So we're gonna go over this formula. I wrote some things down and we're gonna break it down, okay? So the first thing that we want to talk about is the majority of people have wealth and acquiring wealth backwards, okay? So what do I mean by this? A lot of people think that, and I can tell some of you guys that are watching my channel, the way that you guys, not necessarily the questions that you're asking, but the way that you're asking me them indicates to me that maybe you don't necessarily have a formula to acquiring wealth over the long term. You guys are more worried about what coin can give you an 100x, or what asset could give you an 100x, and essentially you're trying to cut corners and you're trying to get rich quick, okay? And although crypto has a lot of negative connotations to it about a bunch of people trying to get rich quick, believe it or not, the crypto market is actually a very long game, all right? It's a very long game, and the longer that you stay in the market, the better off on average that you do, as long as you have a formula to succeeding, which is what we're going to go over, okay? Now, the average person, okay, most of the first thing that we have to understand about this is that most people are not broke necessarily because of their income, right? The majority of people are not broke because of they don't make enough money. They're broke because of their lifestyle inflation. They're broke because of their lifestyle inflation. Now, what do I mean by lifestyle inflation? Well, if somebody makes $120,000 a year, as an example, okay, $120,000 a year, and their expenses are $115,000 a year, you're still broke, right? A lot of the times when people make more money, some of you guys make six figures, some of you guys make more than average income, some of you guys make very good money. The problem is that your lifestyle expenses, whether it be your habits or whether or not it be something else, a lot of you guys spend just as much as you make, even though you make way more than the average person. And what that causes you to do is you're still broke because you can't get ahead by buying assets, right? So, you know, we're gonna talk a little bit more about exactly how to set this up for you to where it makes sense. But the point that I'm trying to make is that the majority of people, even if they make money, as their income goes up, they think, well, I'm making more money now, so I can afford a higher lifestyle, right? And that's where people get trapped, right? There are people that make $300,000 a year, $250,000 a year, but before they're able to invest their wealth long enough in order to build assets, what they do is they upgrade their lifestyle too early before they can do that, and then they essentially just stay in the rat race the same way that somebody else does. On top of that, because you're making more, you're probably working more, and you can't really get ahead. There's a lot of people that make this mistake. Even if you make good money and you make good income, you don't you don't make the necessary lifestyle changes necessary in order for you to go between what you make and how much you can save and how much you spend. And that margin is what gets you ahead over the long term, right? So earning does not necessarily equal freedom, right? Earning does not necessarily equal freedom. Just because you earn a lot, that doesn't mean that you make a lot of money, or it doesn't mean that you are going to become wealthy over a long period of time. If you're making six figures, or if you're making above average money at your job or your own business or whatever the case may be, but your lifestyle suits up to that, well then, you're not going to really get ahead over the long term. Okay. So you have to protect the margin. The key to this is to protect the margin between what you make and what you spend, and then invest the difference. Okay. Say it with me. Wealth equals make more money than you spend and invest the difference. Wealth equals making more money than you spend and then investing the difference over a long period of time. Okay. The other thing that we have to talk about here is that if you guys own assets, if you guys optimize that margin and you put that disposable income into assets, then what that's going to do for you over the long term is it's going to make it able for you to buy assets. Excuse me. And what assets do is that we talk about lifestyle inflation, we talk about literal inflation through either taxation or the increase of consumer prices or whatever the case may be. But when you own assets, inflation actually works in your favor, because when currency gets printed, when the government prints a bunch of currency and money is let into existence, then all that money that circulates eventually goes back to consumers, and it goes back to things that people buy, and then it bids up prices, allowing you to purchase even more, especially if you're in a market that's lucrative like the crypto market. I hope that makes sense to you guys. I hope that makes sense. So that's number one. That's the mistake that the majority of people make. And this is why it's so important to come up with a formula that I'm going to give you right now, okay? So again, the formula to getting wealth over a long term, sustained wealth, is not by buying an 100x meme coin. It's not by buying the next 50x crypto coin. You guys hear me talk about crypto coins all the time on my channel, but still, that's not actually how to sustain wealth. If you guys haven't watched my risk management videos and all the videos where I break down some tokens that I like, I do think that they can make those returns if you're patient and if you invest over the long term. But the reason why a lot of people get chopped up in the crypto market is because they don't have a system. The first thing is they don't have conviction in what they're buying. The second thing is that they don't have a system to where you know that you're on the right path and you're going to get wealthy over the long term, right? So again, let's break down the formula now so that you guys know and you guys have an idea of what this means, okay? So the first step to achieving, to getting a system that works for you is to make more money, okay? Now, I just said that making more money doesn't necessarily mean wealth. That doesn't mean that you don't want to make more money in your life, okay? It does not mean you want to make more money and you don't want to make more money in your life. You do want to make more money in your life. It's just that's one step, and we're going to get into the other part later on, okay? So the first thing that you could do in order to make more money, how do you make more money? Well, you can get a job that pays you more, okay? Ideally, you guys all want to be shooting for six figures and above. Obviously, that's the common thing, right? But the first thing is to getting a higher paying job. You want to get a job that pays you a lot, whether it be per hour or whether it be you get a lot of commission for your job, or maybe you work you're a contractor and you can get paid because you have a high income skill. That's what you want to do. Or maybe you're a trader and you can make money doing that. That's the first thing. You can get a higher paying job. Somebody will pay you and you'll get paid more for the hours that you work. All right, that's number one. The second thing, create a side hustle. Now, the side hustle that you create is going to be dependent on the skills that you have. The side hustle that you have is going to be dependent on the skills. Now, if you have a job where you're working 50, 60-hour weeks, 70, sometimes even 80 hours a week, whatever the case may be, then you don't need a side hustle, right? You're already working a lot of your job, so you don't need necessarily to get a side hustle as long as your job is paying you well for that time. But some side hustles that you could do on the side, You can do Uber on the weekends, after work, before work, if you want to do it in the morning, typically after work. That's what I did when I first started out acquiring more. I did Uber and I did all that stuff when I first started out. I don't do it anymore, obviously, but you can do that, okay? That could be a nice little way for you to drum up more cash so that you have more to invest. Okay, the second thing is you can learn a skill like technical analysis. You can learn how to trade, and if you build that trading bag and you get experience and you develop skills, you can make more in an hour, even if you know what you're doing and you're dealing with enough capital, then you can make more in an hour than most people make in a week. That's possible to do. Okay, you could do that, or you could work a job and trade in your free time, and you could do it that way. Okay, you could also freelance if you have a skill, like if you know how to copyright or you're good at graphic design, whatever the case may be. You could do that on the side on top of your job to get more dry powder. Right, you could do that as well. But Chase, that's working a lot. That's all, that's a lot of working. Yeah, that's true. For you guys that are in your 20s, for you guys that are even in your 30s, you guys are still young. You guys still should build wealth, and you guys should commit to making more money. And if you guys aren't where you want to be financially, then I recommend you do exactly that. Okay, you get a side hustle, and if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. It is what it is. Okay, or so you could get a higher paying job, you can get a side hustle, or you could start your own business. Now, starting your own business is very lucrative if you have a good business model and you are better than 99% of the people out there at what you do. But the other thing is you could start your own business if you have what it takes, and if you know what you're doing in that field. You can start a side business. That could be your side hustle as well. And then if that business ends up making more money than your job and it can replace that income, if it's to the point where you're losing money at your job, if you're losing money at your job by working there, then at that point, that side business, ideally something that you like and that's purposeful for you, you could end up replacing your job with the side business, and the business can be a full-time thing. Okay, so that's how to make more money. That's the first step. Now the second step is to spend less. Oh, one more thing. If you guys don't have a side hustle or a skill that you guys can have that can monetize your time more, really work on high income skills. All right, high income skills. What are some of those high income skills? Copywriting. Copywriting can make you a lot of money if you know what to do. Digital marketing, if you get your margins up, you can learn how to trade. If you guys learn appropriately on how to trade, you guys can make more money doing that. And if you guys need help with how to trade, you guys can get a coaching call with me, and we can figure out what's best for you, and I can figure out how I can help you. Okay. The second part of this formula, so the first part is to make more money. The second part is to spend less. All right, spend less money. Decrease your overhead in your own life personally. Spend less money. Okay. So the first thing that you guys need to do if you guys want to spend less money is that you can't remove what you don't track. You can't improve what you don't track. So I recommend you guys getting an app that tracks your spending and all the things that you're spending. I use the Monarch app. I set it up on my phone. It's easy. You can connect all of your debit cards. You can connect your credit cards if you have credit cards, whatever the case may be. You guys can track your spending with the Monarch app. And from there, then you'll realize a lot of the times when whether it's with people I'm working with or people who just start out, when I first started doing this, I realized that there was a lot of things that I could cut that could be put to better work. All right, there were things that I didn't really need on there that I needed to remove, right, or that I could have removed to improve. Whew, sun's getting hot, right? The sun's getting hot. But so the first step is to track your spending. It's the same thing as in the gym. If you're trying to lose weight, at the gym, then you can't improve what you don't measure. So you have to measure your spending. And it's just like in the gym. If you guys want to lose weight, you guys have to track the amount of food that you're eating in order to improve, right? In order to improve. So you got to track your spending. Use the Monarch app. I've been using it. It's very, very good, very useful, and it's a great way to track your spending. Even if you're already wealthy, it's a good idea to track your spending. All right, you should be aware of everything that's coming out of your bank account and everything that you're spending money on, so that you can improve. If you're not doing this, it's going to be very difficult for you guys to find more dry powder with the money that you have right now. Okay. So once you track your expenses, you want to eliminate the unnecessary expenses. All right. And don't tell me, if you guys aren't tracking your expenses, don't tell me, I don't want to hear you guys say, oh, well, I don't waste any money. Okay. That's not true. All right. A lot of you guys, when you guys track your expenses, you guys realize a lot of the things that you guys are buying, and you realize a lot of the money that you're spending, all the unnecessary expenses, cut them out. Cut out the unnecessary expenses. What are some examples of unnecessary expenses? Well, a few examples. I wrote down a few examples on here. All right, some of you guys are spending money on, if you guys have OnlyFans subscriptions, or you guys are spending too much money out, or let's say you're eating out. All right, some of you guys are simping over women online, and you're following them, and they don't, cut that out, cut that stuff out, right? Then you got subscriptions that you don't need. All right, if you guys have subscriptions to things that maybe you bought impulsively, or you made an emotional decision to buy, and it's just taking money out of your account every single month, right? Taking money out of your account. Now, should you cut every expense? Obviously, if you guys are investing in, I'm big on health and fitness, so if you guys are investing into, as an example, a supplement that gives you more energy and improves your quality of life, obviously that's not something that you should cut. Gym membership, these are expenses that improve your life. I'm talking about things that you don't need. You don't need some subscriptions. Do you really watch Netflix that much? Do you really need all these subscriptions? That are they complementing your life, or are they taking away? Or do you not even realize that you're spending it anymore? Right? Maybe you used something 2 years ago, you don't even use it, and since you're not tracking your expenses, it's just taking money out of your account every single time, and you don't even realizing it. You're not going to know that unless you track it, okay? But eliminate all unnecessary expenses. If you guys are eating out 4 times a week, some of you guys that I deal with, a lot of you guys are eating out 4 or 5 times a week. That's way too much. That is way too much to eat out. A lot of you guys, if you guys haven't made your first million, you guys haven't made your first even just $100,000, most people don't have $5,000 in savings. You guys have no reason to be eating out, all right? You guys have no reason to be eating out nearly as much. Now, can you go out once a week? And, if you have a girlfriend or a wife, or if you have a family, can you guys go out once a week? Yeah, sure. Especially if you're already in a good financial position in terms of, your investments, you guys are buying assets, you're on a good path. Hey, you guys can go out a little bit, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But the point is that if you guys are going out on to the bar, I didn't mean to switch the subject, but there's one more example. You guys are going out, nothing wrong with going out once in a while and enjoying yourself, but limit it, all right? Maybe keep in mind and ask yourself a question: what can I cut out of this? Out of all these expenses that are taking money out of my account from the income that I make, what can I cut? What can I afford to cut? What am I willing to cut in order to change my financial future? Right? What can I cut? Ask yourself that question, and once you identify what you can cut them. Okay? The last thing I have on here is to avoid lifestyle creep. Avoid lifestyle creep. What is lifestyle creep? I mentioned it earlier in the video. The first thing that you guys need to do is you guys need to, when you guys make more money at your job, the key is to not let your lifestyle, increase to the same magnitude that you make money. Okay? You guys want to stay lean for a little bit of time until you guys have enough assets to where you don't have to worry about it anymore. Okay? I'm not saying that you can't improve your lifestyle, but it's all timing, and it's all having your responsibilities in check first. You want to have everything in check first. You guys want to create a system to where you are building wealth actively, and then those assets can pay for your lifestyle. That's the way that you should do it. Okay? Make more, spend less. That's the first 2 steps. The third step is to invest the difference between what you make and what you spend. All right? The thing is that a lot of people miss this, okay? And there's a few goals that you guys want to achieve. Whatever amount that you make compared to what you spend, you want to invest the difference for your life and for your family's lives, all right? Invest it for your future. We're not talking about getting rich in 2 months. We're not talking about getting rich in 3 months. We're talking about building long-term sustainable wealth and creating a system to where you're unstoppable financially, okay? You're unstoppable financially because you have a system. Okay, so there's a few goals that you guys want to hit. There's a few goals that you guys want to hit. We're going to talk about the first one. All right, check this out. The first goal that you want to have is you want to take, so once you guys have calculated your monthly expenses, right? You've calculated your monthly expenses. You want to multiply that amount by 6. You want to calculate how much you need to survive and for your lifestyle for a month. You want to calculate that. You want to multiply that number by 6. You want to multiply that number by 6. That's 6 months, and you want to save that money. I know on this channel I talk a lot about saving your money is not how to get wealthy, but with that being said, in case something happens with your job, in case something happens with the economy, in case something bad happens to where you need cash on hand, you guys do want to have an emergency fund and a 6 months cushion in case you, let's say you lose your job or you get laid off or whatever the case may be. You guys want to have an emergency fund set up. So the monthly expenses, multiply that by 6. That is your first investment. Okay. Once you have that 6 months cushion, now you're comfortable. Now you can start investing into assets that pay you over a long period of time. Okay. The second, which brings me into the second goal. The second goal is to get yourself to where you're able to invest a minimum of $2,000 a month. Minimum $2,000 a month. Now, $2,000 a month times 12, that's $24,000 a month. Multiply that by 10, that's $240,000 a month, plus the appreciation that you get from the assets that you buy. And that should give you, especially if you're investing in lucrative things like the crypto market, correctly with, if you don't know what you're doing, with guidance from somebody like me or somebody else that you trust more, whatever the case may be, okay? That's how you get wealthy over 10 years, okay? 10 years, it's gonna be hard not to make $1 million if you're investing that much money and you're consistent. So you wanna be striving for $2,000 a month that you can invest in disposable income, the margin between what you make and what you spend. If you can get that number to $2,000 at least, then you're on a great path. You're on a wealthy path. And if you're not on that path, then you need to be focusing on how to making more money with the money that you do have, okay? If you can get to that number, then you're on the path to financial freedom for the rest of your life. And if you have that system, you can continue to invest. It's a beautiful thing, okay? Now what to invest in? What to invest in? Well, there's 3 options that I've simplified. There's all these people trying to sell you on all these different things. A lot of people are trying to sell you on courses. A lot of people are trying to sell you on a way for you to make money and make, an absurd amount of money quickly and all this stuff. But the truth is that there's 3 main ways that you can invest, all right? The first thing is into liquid assets. Now, what are those liquid assets? That's either the stock market or that's the crypto market, all right? Obviously, this is a crypto channel. I'm very big into crypto, so I recommend crypto. I think it's the most lucrative. It's what I'm good at, so I stick to that, okay? Stocks and crypto. You can make a lot of money in crypto, as we've seen over the past few months. A lot of my guys, and if you guys have been taking action on the things that I've been talking about, you guys have made a killing, and you guys are way outpacing inflation. You guys are destroying inflation. All of you should be destroying inflation. If you guys are following my channel, you guys are following my short form content, you guys are on a great path, and you're actually speeding up the process by doing that, okay? Now, the second part's real estate, okay? Obviously, real estate is another investment that is very lucrative. It's a little bit more active. There's a little bit more responsibilities. It's not quite as lucrative, but it's a little more stable. The main benefits of real estate is that you get cash flow from the property and you get tax benefits as well. So that's the main selling point on real estate. I know some people who are more into real estate that only invest a little bit into crypto. It all depends on what you know, what you're good at, and what you're comfortable with, as well as the situation that you're in personally. So there's stocks, crypto, liquid assets, there's real estate, and then the third one is your own business. So $2,000 can go into your own business as well. It's now the thing about businesses that a lot of people don't realize is that starting a business is more risky than the other two, because most businesses fail. Just because you're starting a business and just because you're building a business that you like or that you think, most businesses actually fail. I'm not sure exactly on the stat, but I think it's like close to 90 to 95% of businesses fail within the first 2 years. So if you guys start a business, make sure that you have a competitive advantage and you're an expert in your field compared to the majority of people, and even people that are in the market actively. So investing into your own business, it's the most risky, but it can be the most lucrative as well. You can build a lot. And on top of that, you have to be willing to grind on your business with your job. I don't recommend you guys quit your job to start a business. I recommend you guys grind and you guys build a business on the side until your business replaces the income at your job. At that point, you can rethink and consider leaving your job, okay? A lot of people ask me, should I quit my job because I made a bunch of money in crypto? And my answer is almost 100% of the time, no. All right, most of the time it's no, unless there are obviously exceptions to the rule. If you guys have built a lot of wealth and you guys can put that capital to work and you're losing money at your job, then you can quit your job and start your own business. But a lot of people quit, especially in the crypto market, a lot of people quit their jobs way too early, and then the market doesn't go their way, and then now they're out of a job, okay? So you guys wanna make sure that you guys are taking care of that, okay? So so the first goal, get your 6-month emergency fund. The second goal is to invest the difference into assets over time. That should be a 5 to 10 year time frame. Over time in the markets, the market rewards you, and then you become financially free, and you change your entire financial life and your future family's life, or your family's life, whatever the case may be. It's not easy, but it takes discipline. The key to all of this is discipline and sticking to your plan and sticking to the system that I helped build for you here. All right, sticking to the system that I helped build for you here. If you stick to that system, there should be no reason why you can't acquire wealth over a long period of time, okay? You don't need a crazy high IQ. You don't need to be a genius. You don't need to be a brainiac. I'm definitely not a genius. I'm definitely not a, shadowy super coder or something like this, right? All I have is a system. I have discipline and I have work ethic. And over time, that has rewarded me, and it's going to continue to reward me over the long term, okay? I have no doubt about that. So all it is the key to all this is discipline. Set up, understand the formula that I gave you. Make more than you spend, invest the difference, set up a system that works for you. And if you do that, you guys are gonna be on a beautiful path towards financial freedom in your life, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys have any questions about this formula, let me know in the comments. If you guys wanna get a coaching call with me where I can help you set up a system like this, then you guys need to jump in my Telegram and message me privately, and then we can talk and we can work separately on that. And I'd love to help you guys out. I really would. This is what I love to do. I love to help people get into the crypto market with whatever amount of income that makes sense for you. And that's exactly what we're gonna go through, okay? So if you guys like this video, give it a like, hit the notification bell, all right? Subscribe to the YouTube channel, all right? Instagram, Chase Your Grace, TikTok, Chase Your Grace, both down in the description. TikTok is getting a lot of steam. Twitter, I'm gonna start putting my Twitter in my handle. I'm gonna start tweeting more, being more active on Twitter, because I know that that's a very lucrative social media as well, where I can reach out to more people and hopefully influence their lives in a positive way, okay? So thank you guys. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this day on the beach, all right? And I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you, and bless up.